Philosophy begins with confusion and wonder, making us vulnerable to simply accept the world around us. Philosophical questions are meant to push our boundaries and help us discover our true path in life. My personal philosophy towards life is to live through Catholic values, God's teachings, and to ultimately strive for happiness. My deep roots to my faith play an integral role in how I live my everyday life and how I build my character. Ultimately, my perspective on the world and who I truly am as a person is based on my experiences, faith, and education. Through personal growth and strength, I believe that finding the key to happiness is possible. I closely resonate with the traditional Western religious views of human nature. Being a strong Catholic, I hold importance on the fact that humans are made in the image of God. I strongly agree that non-believers and believers have the ability to love and know to be like God. Jesus said, "Love one another as I have loved you," which is a principle I try my best to emulate throughout my life. It helps me come back to reality and out of a self-absorbed society many individuals get caught up in, and makes me realize every single person is worthwhile. Religious view gives credence to the idea of a moral self where everyone is capable of great good but also great evil. I understand and agree that when we commit offenses such as vanity and dishonesty against God, we lose touch of ourselves. I believe God truly wants us to showcase our best parts of ourselves. By doing good, we make Him the center of our lives. It is easier said than done, and I feel living according to God's will is a challenge at times, but something that I need to work on slowly with the help of prayers and family. St. Augustine emphasized the ability to choose between good and evil, the seat for the Christian virtue, love. Like Plato, Augustine held that we have powerful desires that weigh us down and away from heaven above. God helps guide me in a righteous path and is a daily reminder to stray away from sin and continue my commitment in living out ideals of truth, humility, and kindness. I believe that an outside force determines most instances in the universe, but to an extent that we humans are also free to choose for ourselves based on where the universe takes us. Specifically, I personally hold that God has a plan for us and aspects of our lives are predestined. For instance, God chooses to give me the opportunity to have a job, but I'm free to choose whether or not to be a good employee and expand my responsibilities, or take advantage of it and put myself in a position to lose a new stage of my life. Hindu philosopher says we are determined but free to choose within the constraints of our past. I resonate with this concept, but in a Catholic perspective, as I believe we are determined and created in God's image, but also free to follow His will and choose the action of sin. In addition, I conclude that reality is far more than material objects, despite the fact that idealism is not clearly seen by the naked eye. At first glance, it is simple to perceive the world as a materialistic place, but my belief is that it is idealistic. Yes, the world today is comprised of wealth and material goods as a result of our own discontent, but it is also composed of powerful mental and spiritual forces. A fundamental objection towards materialism is its complication in accounting for human consciousness such as thinking, experiencing, loving, and hating. I believe the world is idealistic because a majority of individuals are religious, whether it is a belief in gods or lack thereof, with a personal commitment or none. Although an idealistic viewpoint need not necessarily include a god, supernatural beings, or afterlife, they often go hand in hand with doctrines of important figures in idealism. George Berkeley claimed that the conscious mind and its ideas are the only reality, and only the mind and spirit can ultimately matter. The collection of perceptions in the world can only be explained as the work of a supreme mind, the mind of God. My beliefs are similar to the Christian thought developed by St. Augustine. Augustine held that what is real is the spiritual world without matter, and although we are citizens of the physical world, we are all ultimately destined to be citizens of the spiritual world of God. My notion is that our temperament and spirituality, or lack thereof, shows what the universe is all about. We are much more than our physical makeup. The cars you drive, the money you make, and the house you live in do not truly represent who you are inside. In relation to the myth of the cave, some individuals are stuck in a dark place from which they feel they can never escape until the day they see the light and come to accept what is within. The material world means nothing compared to the deeper parts of you that make you unique from every single human being on earth. In terms of my viewpoint, the physical outer world is idealistic and the ultimate reality of the universe can only be found within. To me, the nature of moral obligation comes from God's will and commandments. Jesus is a prime example of what a good human being should exemplify and displays virtues we need to possess in order to determine right from wrong. Some issues discussed in ethics are if abortion and suicide are ever morally right. My personal philosophy consists of being against abortion, mainly due to the stance that the Catholic Church has on this issue, but I also do believe that there are exceptions to this rule. In terms of suicide, I agree with the Catholic Church in the view that it is wrong, but I also do believe they should not be punished in heaven or purgatory. Natural law ethics holds that humans should live according to nature. This universal order is exhibited in human nature and is what humans live by in order to attain happiness. Christian philosopher/theologian Thomas Aquinas held that since God created the universe, the laws that govern it are laws that God has imposed. I believe that God built natural inclinations into human nature for our morality to arise when our reason becomes aware of it. I feel we desire for survival and preserve human life while avoiding what is destructive, as do other animals. I prefer the ideals of natural law as opposed to scriptural law, as the majority of my spiritual life isn't focused on specific Bible scriptures. Regardless of religion, I believe we are inherently good and start life with a clean slate. When we are born, we are innocent, pure, and harmless. As we grow up and develop in the world, the experiences and people around us, which can have both a positive and negative effect on us, influence us. These influences shape who I am as an individual, whether good or bad. I truly believe that what I put forth in the world will be reflected back into my life. We may experience negative events or people, but it is how we decide to react and overcome these obstacles that reflect the person we truly are. Essentially, as much as I feel we aren't in control of what happens to us, we are always in control of how we handle things and mature as people. I feel our upbringing, school environment, media, friends, and family heavily determine our behavior and personality. By nature, we are pure in heart and have the potential to be good human beings. Deep down, I know I can accomplish great things, although I subject myself to societal expectations. I conclude that our nature as human beings is to be good, and it is up to the individual to choose whether or not to end life that way. I believe that humanity has the potential to create an enlightened society. Society has unrealistic expectations set for people in regards to body image, lifestyle choices, religion, and social status. Being able to overcome these challenges can be very difficult. My faith is a large part of what helps me overcome these challenges. However, the media is also an outlet that promotes social justice, education, community empowerment, and entertainment that helps me look at the world in a positive way. I conclude an individual's desire to create a good society is a testament to their character. I have always been a hopeful person with a strong relationship with God, and that contributes to the reason why I feel society can be enlightened. The vision of an enlightened society is not just a utopian fantasy. It is easily attainable by living in harmony with one another and discovering your true self. I feel many have given up on human nature and human society due to its seemingly materialistic nature and imposed unrealistic expectations. Despite that, I believe humans all have the ability to express basic goodness and showcase compassion in order for all of humanity to become enlightened. Enlightened society is all about nurturing the human spirit, waking up to the goodness, kindness, and strength that we already have.